Roblox Doors has a ton of mysteries that are yet to be solved, especially within the Doors Hotel Plus update. I mean, giant holes within the walls? New entities roaming about? And giant piles of, well, you know. But these are 5 solved mysteries in Doors Hotel Plus. What other mysteries have you noticed? Comment down below, and you better like and subscribe or else you'll never win a game of Doors ever again. Number 1, mystery sounds. With Doors being a horror game, of course, there's bound to be a lot of weird and rather mysterious ambient sounds going on in the background of the gameplay. Quite literally, most times you'll hear random sound effects of a person drinking water or even people knocking on doors within the distance. But there's been one question that comes to mind during these events. Who exactly is intimidating players within the game with all these random sound effects? Well, it looks like we finally got our answer. If we take a quick skip ahead to the Jeff shop and talk to our good old friend El Goblino, a couple of their prompts actually solves our mystery. Oh yeah, if you hear me scrambling about there somewhere, don't be alarmed, dude. A guy's gotta eat. Sometimes I like to knock on the walls, scare the pants off of the humans. So funny, dude. Sometimes I hate Jeff, dude. I gotta scrounge around for so many coins just to eat dinner, man. Well, there we go. It looks like El Goblino has also been the mystery entity behind all of these random sounds within the gameplay, as the guy is also playing Doors in the background in order to gather as many coins needed in order to survive to buy foods and drinks. So next time you hear them in the background, maybe type their name within the chat. They might just swing by and say hello. Number 2, the Void. No, we're not talking about the entity Void. We still have no idea about their lookalikes, but we are talking about the structure that was within the hotel previous to the Doors Hotel Plus update. Originally, this structure did have a mysterious song being played when players were able to no-clip outside of the map to catch a glimpse, but it was relatively unknown why the structure was added in the first place. When the update happened, this structure was then disappeared and removed, as also confirmed by the Doors wiki page. This time, we have the rift that seems to have taken its place roughly at the same axis from the previous Void structure. The rift is also found to be linked up to this old Void structure as an early testing system in order to make the rift work by teleporting and saving items for various runs within the game. It also makes sense, especially as you go near the rift. There is a faint secret song that can be heard, and it is pretty similar to the previous Void song as well. This, in turn, has officially busted this mystery, linking the previously deleted and unknown Void to the new Rift system. Number 3, Goku Chance. If you've been playing Doors for a while, then I'm sure you've ran into this funny drip Goku secret that is also often forgettable within the game. Previously, we have mentioned that there is a 1 out of 50,000 chance as stated online, but this actually turned out to be false. Logcat, a famous Roblox Doors hacker, actually created a video labeled "How rare is it to get Goku drip in Doors?" and after sifting through the game's code and internal data, they were able to confirm that it is actually a 1 out of 8,000 chance of receiving the rare jump scare. That's still 4 times rarer than getting a Jack Red room or even a shadow, which is crazy. But this does solve the official mystery of Goku's legitimate chances of happening within the game. Number 4, the statues? Of course, there are multiple statues within the game that have once been major mysteries involved behind the lore of the famed hotel. One of which is the statue of a bacon here inside the library simply titled as Awesome Tony, and the giant Angelic Statue that can be found within the courtyard. Well, we found out that the bacon statue was actually a reference to a legitimate player on Roblox called Awesome Tony 987, and it gets crazier. because this guy's actually friends with the co-developer and several Doors contributors as well. So that pretty much explains the whole statue mystery. But what about the big one within the courtyard? We previously said a while ago that this may have been an old guardian of the hotel, but if we go over to MatPat's The Game Theorist's channel, they actually had a huge theory about the statue in their Doors game theory video. I'll let him explain this part.
Looking around, you'll find a large statue of an angelic figure with a sword in the center of the courtyard, protecting it. In the Bible, we often see depictions of angels with swords, both used for battle and for protecting, but they're also seen to guide the lost, helping them find their way either physically or spiritually. Now, what would that remind me of? It's guiding light, the entity that's trying to protect us. In turn, lends support to the idea that the angelic statue in the courtyard is indeed guiding light, as angels are basically the exact opposite of demons.
Honestly, the goat of game theorist himself explains it better than I ever could. So that pretty much solves the whole mystery of why and what this angelic statue within the courtyard represents. Number 5, elevator eyes. Well, you know, the Seek's eyes generally only shows up, especially right before a Seek chase or event is about to happen. And we've mentioned in previous videos that for some reason, Seek's eyes also show up right before the elevator shaft during the ending cutscene of the game. It was relatively unknown why these eyes were here specifically, but thanks to the Doors wiki, we do have a source. A player did have several questions, one regarding whether or not Seek will return to the second floor of the game. And Wowzers, one of the lead contributors for the game, did mention that some entities will be returning for the next floor. This in turn implies that Seek would be returning for Doors Floor 2, and it definitely explains all the eyes on the wall as it leads down into the supposed Floor 2 cavern entrance at the end of the cutscene. So Seek will most likely make it in another future Doors update, though it might not look the same this time around. Honestly, who even cares what he is going to look like? It's just a good thing that he'll be staying with the game for a good while to come. And a bonus mini mystery solved. You guys already know about the Seek painting within the wall that has a ton of, well, Seek eyes looking at players, right? If you interact with the painting, it says that the painting is not actually a painting. And well, it's not that it doesn't exist or anything like that. Those are legitimate Seek eyes, watching the player's every move. As it turns out, the painting frame was actually a decoy to mimic that it was in fact a painting. Honestly, a super smart move by the developers to make this one possible. But what other mysteries do you know of indoors? Comment below and take care.